There certainly are hard parts when it comes to talking about cruising, and missing friends and families at the holidays has to rank right up there. Hi, I'm Nika Waters, and welcome to the Boat Galley podcast. Today I'm talking about a couple things that you can do to help when you're missing your friends and family during your holiday season. Today's episode of the Boat Galley podcast is sponsored by My Island Wi-Fi, your go-to source for secure Bahamas internet. Planning on a visit to the Bahamas and wanting the security of unlimited Wi-Fi? Look no further. Featuring monthly plans with no long-term commitment, My Island Wi-Fi offers unlimited 4G hotspot rentals with no hidden fees or throttling. Visit myislandwifi.com to reserve your device now. My Island Wi-Fi. Vacation without limits. Certainly, during this pandemic time, we've all gotten a little bit used to being without our friends and family. That doesn't make it any easier. And the same is true when you're talking about going cruising. That's one of the kind of hidden things that people don't spend a whole lot of time talking about, is how hard it is to be away from your loved ones during special holidays. So what can you do about it? Well, there are a number of things you can do, of course. You could put the boat on the hard or in a marina somewhere and fly home. That's a little tougher this year during the pandemic, but that is certainly an option if your budget allows. You could fly your friends and family down to you and have them join you in places that you happen to be. That's another option. Probably not so perfect this year, 2020, December, but down the line, maybe that's a possibility. Certainly, it's one of the reasons that we are choosing to cruise on a smaller boat, is so we can have some budget allowance for things like that, to be able to fly our kids in to see us on their vacations and for holidays that mean a lot to us as a family. Something else that you can do is set up special times that you contact your loved ones. These days, we're all overwhelmed maybe with the number of Zoom calls, but if you can set up a special time where it's just you and the people you're absolutely closest to, even if it's, hey, let's put the computer or device up on the counter and go about our regular making dinner routine, and you're each doing that and just sort of chit-chatting. It's not remotely the same as if you're in the same place, and I'm not trying to say that it is, but it might be a close second. If you've got the Wi-Fi and you've got the data to be able to do it, that might be the closest you can get to being with your friends and family on really special occasions. Next down the list might be a phone call. Voice takes much less data than video, and at least having that connection, that verbal connection, can go an awfully long way. You can say the I love you. You can say your cute little things. In my family, we do a hand squeeze, a 1, 2, 3 hand squeeze, and you can do a 1, 2, 3 or something like that, whatever matters to you, but a way of keeping that connection going even when you're far apart. Finding special things in your travels, and that can be the most wonderful shell or perfect piece of sea glass that makes you think of the person that you're missing. You just drop it in an envelope, send it off to them. It doesn't have to be any special time of year, but you can just send them that says, hey, I'm thinking of you. Here's the connection. Those things also go a long way towards helping you stave off a little bit of the loneliness. And here's one that might be so obvious as to not even need stating, but surround yourself with pictures and reminders of your family and your friends. Have pictures that you can pull out or decorate your boat with. Have little mementos. One of the things that I love that we have on the boat is a little piece of granite rock with a kind of a hole cut out of it that you could use as either a candle holder or even a little weed pot, a little spot to put little flowers or twigs or something in it. Very shallow, not super deep, not super big, small enough to fit on the boat. Well, this is an item that I purchased when I was with a really good cruising friend of mine, Wendy Clark from Sailing Osprey. We each purchased one to have in our house or on our boat whenever we were, and I have it on Calypso, and I can fill it with little things. And when I look at it, I think about all the times that we're together, as well as that particular special shopping time that I had with her. So those little things can make you feel connected and make you feel like you're not so alone. One of the things that I think can be important is to keep up some traditions that you have with your friends and family. And I remember the very first Christmas that we were out, that was actually a lesson that I learned on something not to do. We were sailing on the same boat that we are now, something small. We were actually in Florida waiting to cross over to the Bahamas. And my family has a tradition of having a really yummy Christmas dinner, and we make all kinds of yummy things and sit around and talk for a long time. And it was mine and Jeremy's first Christmas together. We actually hadn't quite celebrated our first anniversary. And we were anchored with not great weather waiting to go across to the Bahamas. And I hadn't managed to go to the grocery store to get anything fresh. And I thought, I'm just going to create something out of the stores that I have on board. And I happened to have a canned ham. I happened to have canned potatoes, and I had some canned green beans. That was the most disgusting dinner that we have ever had on Calypso, and did not help with my missing friends and family in the slightest. So if I can encourage you, take a little bit of time when you're provisioning, even if you're not sure you're going to be somewhere to get fresh stuff at the very last minute. Don't buy things that you can have just because they're good for long distance things. None of those things that I mentioned are actually going to have a place on board when we leave to go cruising this next time, because they're gross, in my opinion. You might love them. If you do, great. But a much better option for us might have been on Christmas to do a special dinner of lots of yummy nibbles. Things like brie cheese and homemade crackers or homemade baguettes. Things like Trader Joe's bruschetta topping that makes the most amazing smear of tomato richness, goodness on toast. I could have done sausage that I sliced up. Long sausage that doesn't even require refrigeration. Olives, artichoke hearts. There are lots of things that I could have done to make a very special dinner with long life ingredients that would have been much more palatable and much more enjoyable, along with maybe a bottle of bubbly that I'd tucked away for special occasions. Missing friends and family is definitely one of the less exciting parts of cruising. It's harder this year to me because you can't really even go and find friends in the anchorage and invite strangers over, which is often a great way to change that missing people into a celebration of new friendships. That's a little tougher this year. But find new traditions, find ways to connect yourself to the friends and family who don't happen to be there with you right now, and make plans for some kind of reunion down the line. Whether that's via video or in real person, at some point we are going to be able to gather together again. At some point, you're going to be someplace where you have unlimited Wi-Fi or lots of data to burn, and you actually are going to want to connect with people you haven't connected with in a long time. Sometimes there are parts of cruising that are not fantastic, and learning how to balance those parts and the emotional connection that we have with our friends and family, that can be a big part of the learning experience when you're going through cruising. And yes, it's okay to miss your friends and family. And if you're sad about it, go ahead and be sad. And then look and figure out a way to connect, figure out what your next step is going to be, and know that at some point we're going to be sharing an anchorage together, and we'll raise a glass with not canned potatoes and be able to share our good fortune in finding new friends that we can share our experiences with. I hope you have a very happy holidays in whatever way that looks like for you. It's a weird one. Maybe in 2021, they won't be quite so weird. Thanks so much for listening to the Boat Galley podcast. Have you subscribed yet? If you subscribe, you'll never miss an episode. Have a spectacular week.